Hey, what's up gamers? My name is Jax Foxfire and welcome back to the channel. Now, it has been absolutely ages since I posted my last video and I feel so bad because it has been that long. And not only that, I have been dying to get back into this playthrough that I really want to do, which is Buried in Interactive Stories. So thank you very much for coming back and watching chapter 2 with me. And I've been having a lot of trouble with this morning because of audio, and I am so sorry if this turns out to be terrible. I will try to do as much as I can in editing to improve this. Also, I accidentally, while I was doing my sound checks, I accidentally skipped forward, so I didn't get to show you. God damn it, my phone's on, sorry. So while I was trying to figure out all my audio issues, I sort of skipped forward and you didn't get to see the end of the last video, which I might try and crop in to give you a bit of sense of what's going on. But anyway, so we're here, and I believe that we went into the power station looking thing, and Dennis still doesn't really like me because I didn't really believe him in his story. But I might try and put something in to help that make it seem more clear. I'm not too sure yet. So anyway, this is the very start of chapter 2, so we haven't missed anything. It's just I'm not as organized as before because I've had such a terrible day. But anyway, let's get into it. We're standing on the thin platform that looks like a fancy subway. The rails look well used but not old. There are small overhead heads that are very dim, as if they were running on emergency power. The dim overhead lights are a blessing, but the size of the place makes me feel vulnerable. Staring ahead, the tunnel seems to be endless. It's almost dizzying. But there's a small light further ahead, and then a space that breaks the monotony of the tunnel's curved surface. Another platform, maybe. Okay, so why are we in a subway tunnel, and Dennis, what do you think this is? You've already sort of stated that you know it's a subway tunnel, so asking why are we in a subway tunnel might be more of an idea. Dennis doesn't answer. The reality of what we are seeing is sinking in. Whatever this place is, it is way underground. What seems possible to me, making anything that's on the other side of this tunnel dangerous as far as I'm concerned. But of course we are going on. Human curiosity is going to see to that. Also, the ringing noise is louder down here. It's much more solid now, and there's some other sound. Something like the faint hum of machinery. What's your take on this, boss? Do you think we're safe here? Dennis asks. Not at all. This is what I think to myself, but I don't want to let Dennis know that I'm rattled. While he seems to be limping along much better than when we first stumbled into this place, he's still in rough shape. I'm leading him here, and I should probably make him feel confident in that. Well, if you decide that you need to make him confident in that, yeah, you should say we'll be fine, and he'll probably be like, bullshit. But I reassured Dennis. We're in too far to go back, I say. Besides, if we get caught for trespassing, I'm pretty sure we'd slide by. We're good. You're in pain, and we've got to find the rest of our crew. They could still be in here somewhere. Dennis nods and looks reassured. Albeit, I don't know that word. Bet, weak, and miserable. From the looks of it, we can either go left or right. The left is slightly lit, the right not so much. This makes me uneasy, for I get the sense that one wrong turn in a place like this could have us wandering around for hours. Suddenly, I jerk my head to the right as I hear the unmistakable sound of someone walking. Did you hear something? I asked Dennis. My eyes straining to see anything in the darkness. Not sure, he says. Maybe. It kinda sounded like footsteps. I wait a moment, but the sound doesn't come again. Those are our options. To the left are flickering lights, indicating that at least we'd be able to see. There's also a hum of machinery, a sign of life. To the right is just darkness, but we also heard footsteps in that direction. I probably mentioned it, but I've already watched someone play this game, and I just really wanted to play it myself to make my own path. And so the person I watched, they went right, and I kind of know how that turns out, and it's not bad, but I'm really curious to see what happens when you go left, so I'm going to pick left. You decide to go into the lights. Seems smart to stay in the light. Left it is. I feel like I've made a mistake now. Actually, I feel like I've made a lot of mistakes in this game already, but anyway. As we head left, the lights ahead are a beacon in the dark, luring us forward. Someone left the lights on for us, Dennis says, trying to be funny, but creeping me out instead. I wonder if that's a good or a bad thing, I say. As we near the lights, I hear the hum of machinery grow louder, but it doesn't sound like any machine I've heard before. As the light increases, I use it to take an inventory of Dennis and his condition. While the bleeding seems to have stopped, the amount that is soaked into his pants and shirt are beyond alarming. How much further can you walk, I ask him. Can you keep going? Yes, Dennis says. Let's walk into the deep tunnel that has no business being here. Now, fully stepping into the light, I notice that the sound of machinery is coming from an area on the left side that is protected by a guardrail. Whiffs of bright light dance on the walls and they leak out from whatever is below. I also notice a posted sign that says, danger, severe radiation, poisoning, threat. Oh, okay, so I've got something that can kill me, but I'm really, really curious to see what's going on, because I know in someone else's playthrough that was like really questioning to what was going on here. So even though I'm going to kill myself probably, I'm going to step closer and have a look. It's worth taking a look. We walk over to the guardrail and peer down below. This is what the strange hum is coming from. Further down in the dark, there's something that I can only assume is some sort of power generator. There are tanks, pipes, valves, sure, but there's just something odd about it. It looks like it doesn't belong here. Hey, Dennis says, nudging me. Do you see that? He gestures to the main pipe coming at the top. As my eyes trace along, it disappears into a black, floating mass. I rub my eyes and look again. The pipe goes up into a sphere, but within the sphere is the deepest, darkest I've ever seen. And the area around it seems twisted, almost like a rip in space. I don't know much about whatever this thing is, but I don't like it being here, Dennis says. I agree. And we take off down the tunnel again, either to be away from the pipe and those lights. As we start walking, I notice another structure coming into view from up ahead. That's really weird. Okay, because I'm beginning to understand something that sort of happened in the playthrough that I watched, and I'm kind of seeing something, but I can't really explain it because you guys haven't seen it either. As we head further into the tunnel, we reach another platform. There's a light coming from the platform, but like the overhead lights, they are dim, red emergency lights. I start to wonder if the explosion at the logging site caused a power outage in this place, whatever this place is. The ringing noise that I originally thought was in my head is getting louder. I'm starting to think it's some sort of alarm. When they come to the large opening ahead in the tunnel, it further resembles a subway station. As much as I try to ignore the reality, it's undeniable. We have stumbled into some sort of high-tech transportation system that is buried beneath the forests of Kentucky. It makes absolutely no sense and creates an entirely new sort of fear as to what the hell we have walked into. I notice that Dennis seems confident though. When we reach the large opening, we have to climb over the rails and up onto the platform. I have to help Dennis over the rails and then up the small utility ladder that is bolted to the opposite side of the travelway. When he reaches the large open room resembling a subway's waiting area, he collapses on the floor and lets out a heavy breath. You know what? Dennis says, exasperated. This is ridiculous. I quit. I'm not going any further. On top of worrying about my crew and the madness of wherever we are, I'm not in the mood for Dennis to act like a baby. Well, there's no point in being rude because despite me saying that I don't believe him, he's going pretty well and he's not being an ass to me yet. So just being reassuring and not being an asshole to him is probably going to keep that healthy relationship. I'm not the one with the gash in my side, I think to myself, so I decide to cut him some slack. Damn, boss, I'm sorry, he says. It's okay, I say. I don't know how you're still on your feet, if I'm being honest. Stubbornness, he says with a weak laugh. You need a minute to rest, I ask, as warmly as I can muster. No, if I sit down to rest, I'm afraid I might not get back up. Let's keep going while I can still go. I reach down, help him to his feet, and we get ourselves up onto the platform. Ringing in front of us, right in front of us, there is an entrance to a long hallway, exiting the platform area. It's at this point that I realize those red emergency lights might be on for someone else who is actually supposed to be here. Why not yell out? I reckon... I'm gonna say quiet, actually. I'm still not sure if we want to alert anyone to the fact that we're here, that there are strangers in this secret place. And the thought of hearing a scream, even my own scream, in this empty place is too much to bear. The emergency lights continue to flicker overhead, casting a sick sort of pinkish light on everything. My mind is racing with what sort of place this might be. It's obvious that it's meant to be secret. And if it is and if it is supposed to be a secret, and there was a power outage recently, maybe everyone has been evacuated. While I'm pondering this, a wave of nausea comes over me out of nowhere, and I lurch forward, vomiting all over the floor. Whoa, is all Dennis musters as he instinctively steps away. My insides feel like they're trying to escape. I put my hand out, looking for a wall to lean on. Are you okay? Dennis asks, finally pulling himself together from the surprise. Yeah, I barely gasp out. After a minute the feeling subsides. But what the hell did that come from? Was it that weird power generator? I think that's what it was actually, from that power generator, because it said radiation, and radiation, one of its most side effects is to actually make you feel sick and actual vomit sick. That's what it does, and that's just what it does. Anyway, continuing. I finally collect myself and stand back up, praying I had never have to feel like that again. Let's keep going, I say, wiping my nose with my sleeve. We step inside and it seems just as empty as every other place we've come through, weakly illuminated by more overhead emergency lights. We're standing inside a hallway that looks surreal for a moment. This is a really interesting story. I really enjoy this story so much. And I'm sorry, if you notice me looking over there, that's because I'm doing a time lapse for another video that I'm making that I hope to have up this weekend. So yeah, I'm sorry if my attention isn't always on you guys. The hallway reminds me of a hospital wing, but there's something not quite right about it. It's the first clean and tidy area I've seen since coming into the woods, and it looks like it was recently in use, despite the dim emergency lights overhead. There are chairs against the wall, and the floor looks well cleaned, as do the walls. The ringing noise is definitely coming from... Okay, sorry. There are chairs against the walls, blah 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 blah. The ringing noise is definitely coming from here, and a small flashing red light along the ceiling seems to flash along with it. That ringing noise is an alarm, I say, if only to confirm my own thought. But for what? Dennis asks. And then he asks a question that has been on my mind since I found that little building in the woods. What the hell is this place? We exchange a look that speaks volumes. We reach the end of the hallway and hear a sound like a large metallic grinding. It is followed by a clicking noise and then an unmistakable noise of a generator kicking on. We'll have lights! Lights! Ooh, that looks not so nice anymore. Without warning, the facility jolts to life. The red glow of the emergency lights is suddenly replaced by bright white fluorescent ones. The mechanical hum is oddly comforting. Somehow the power being back on urges us on. It's then that I notice that the ringing noise has stopped. So it had been an alarm, but for what? Just the power failure? We head down the hallway, the electrical hum of lights sounding eerie overhead. Other than that, the place is dead quiet. The hall is about 100 feet long with two main doors. One door opens into a large room that looks like a conference room with a whiteboard and papers strewn about. Across the hallway is another door that looks like a laboratory of some sort. Dennis slums against the wall in defeat and lets out a scary sounding chuckle. Something funny, I ask, as a dark and brooding panic starts to grip me. Dennis just keeps chuckling as he slides down to the floor. I'm just going to sit here while you look around, he says. There's a look in his eye that reminds me far too much of a dead animal on the side of the road. Okay, we just had a massive change in music, and that's really cool. I love like the soundtrack to this game. So, I can't remember whether I get time to enter the lab, but I reckon entering the conference room, there might be more straightforward information in the conference room rather than the lab, where it might be just like all chemicals and stuff. So I'm gonna go with enter the conference room. Okay, so a large table sits in the middle of the room, lined with a series of chairs. It looks like something straight out of a showroom. A well-used whiteboard hangs on the wall and there are scattered papers on the desk. Look at papers. Most of the papers and printouts have codes and equalizations that go way over my head, but there are also handwritten notes that don't make me feel any better about our situation. I read through them and see scrolled notes that say things like, last experiment failed, overdose before transportation, levels indicate cellular catabolism, more lead shielding in export suits, measurements make no sense, let Barksdale know about the possible Higgs field fix. Okay, that doesn't really help much, so I'm just going to look at the whiteboard now. A few things are scribbled on the whiteboard, mostly formulas and names, but there are some things that are easy to understand, things that make my blood go cold. Subject 6, cause of death, embolism or aneurysm, or both? I apologize for my terrible pronunciation. Ideas for new delivery mode, spherical liquid, comatose state, TerraCore equals possible plutonium supplier. Outside in the hallway, I hear Dennis grunting. I head out the room and see him still seated on the floor, but I don't get very far because as I exit, a man comes rushing around the corner with an automatic rifle in his hand. Oh, nice. Kaboom. I don't feel comfortable right now. It's hard to look beyond his rifle. The man carrying it is young, with messy dark hair. His skin is so pale I wonder if he maybe lives down here. He has the look of a guy who's been cooped up for a little too long. He doesn't seem like the kind of person I'd trust a gun with in a stressful situation. And he sees us in the doorway. He screams and brings the gun up. It is aimed directly at my head. Well, trying to attack is stupid. He may not be a good shot, but shooting you when you're almost at point blank is a dumb idea. I put my hands in the air, surprised at how natural it feels to go into this surrendered state. Maybe it's because this feels like a dream. Maybe it's because I feel like I'll snap awake if the mechanic pulls the trigger. Who are you and how did you get down here? The man asks harshly before we can answer. Before we can answer, he continues speaking. I don't recognize you. If you're here, you would have had to have sneaked by the security mics in the entrance hall. What? I asked, unable to think of anything else to say. Who are you? The man asked. Did you do this? The man eyes us both, and I see something in his eye that unsettles me. He is scared, but there is something else. Saying they're loggers is pretty... Yeah. His eyes look distant for a minute and then he says bullshit. For some reason I'm pretty sure he knows I'm telling the truth. and someone knocked the power out. The man says, "It's back on now, but if it was out long enough, well, we're in a heap of trouble." Was it you? Who sent you? Look, we don't know what you're talking about, Dennis says. Something happened out in the woods. Are you alone? Are there others with you? The armed man asked, thrusting the gun in my face. How the hell did we get in this situation? I think to myself. If only I had left that damn ringing nose alone, we wouldn't be here. I'm not really sure if we want to give this guy information yet. We don't know anything about him. Then again, he might just have the answers. Well, there's no point on saying, no, it's just us, and then having like a secret endeavor, because that'll betray this guy's trust. So saying we're looking for our crew makes a more believable story. We have a few other crew members that we just can't find, I say. Your crew? He asks, something confused. If this man thinks that we're nuts, there is no telling what he might do. The fact that he looks a little crazy himself makes the situation even hairier. But how'd you get down here, the man asks. I pointed down the halls towards the subway. We came in that way. The doors weren't locked. The man's expression calms a bit, but I am still very aware of the gun that is leveled less than a foot away from my face. To add with the stress of the moment, another bout of nausea starts to bubble inside me, making me dizzy. Maybe going so close to that radioactive machine in the tunnel wasn't such a good idea after all. It takes all I have not to puke and stay focused on the muzzle that's in front of me. Oh my god, I'm such a dickhead. Why did I do that then? Oh god, if I knew, I should have known it would have had like such a lasting effect. Please put the gun down. There's no point trying to grab the gun if you're fighting, not being sick. You calmly ask the man to back down. The only way I'm putting this rifle down is after I blow in your brains out, the man says. And with that, he sticks the muzzle of the gun in my face. It's a childish move, a playground tactic at best, but it's sufficient to show me that he knows he's in control now. He then levels the rifle at Dennis, and I can only assume it's because his wounds make him appear to be the weaker of us. The man takes a shaky step forward. Dennis looks back and forth between the barrel of the gun and me, his eyes pleading for help. I'm not going to stay back. What if the crazy maniac shoots Dennis? I need Dennis so far. You step between the gun and Dennis. Before I'm fully aware of what I'm doing, I step out in front of Dennis. The barrel of the rifle is nearly touching my chest now. Both Dennis and the man seem a little confused at my action, and I do my best to swallow down my fear. I don't know what's going on here, I say. But we're here by mistake. Well, you have no business here, the man says. But now that the power is on, I think we might be too late anyway. For what, I ask. He doesn't answer me. Instead, he steps forward and actually pushes me backwards with the end of his rifle. The man then repeats a question he asked before, the one that made no sense, and honestly, makes me think he might be a little bit crazy. Who sent you, he asks. You assholes from the Pentagon? I'm not quite sure how to take this question. Is this guy joking? Well, sarcasm, as much as I really want to use sarcasm, because sarcasm is one of the things I always use, I don't think in a situation like this I would say it. So, yeah, I'm the president. Yeah, totally, that's my answer. No, I'm gonna go with no, what the hell are you talking about? No, I say, we're just loggers. Something blew up and my friend got hurt. We're looking for the rest of our crew. Likely story, the man says. But I see a flicker of recognition in his face that makes me think he might believe me. Still, his grip on the gun is as tight as ever. The look on his face makes me think he'll shoot at any moment. You both just stand still, he says. Sooner or later, someone will come along and I'll turn you over. He again thrusts the gun forward as if it has an invisible bayonet on it. There's no need for that, I tell him. I have no guarantee that he won't pull the trigger. Look, Dennis says, you don't want any trouble. We're just as confused as you are. Then, in a moment so fast that I'm just about to miss it, Dennis lunges forward. I have no idea how he's moving so fast. Just 30 seconds ago, I was worried about how close to death he looked. But now he's moving lightning fast, his left arm coming down on the barrel of the gun like a club. In the commotion, the man does pull the trigger. The booming noise is deafening, and there's a moment where I think I've been hit. It takes the clanging noise of the round tearing into the floor at my feet to help me realize that I've not been shot. I look at the floor and see that the shot missed my right leg by less than 3 inches. I'm paralyzed. In shock for a moment as Dennis and the man fight over possession of the rifle. There's a fire extinguisher on the wall I could use as a bludgeon, but I might not have enough time to grab it before Dennis is overpowered. Well, if you don't have enough time, punch him. I would punch him. Dennis has the man pinned to the floor, but isn't strong enough to keep him down. As I fall to the floor to help, the barrel of the rifle swings right in front of my face, a reminder of how close I've come to being shot. On my knees now, I deliver a hard, stiff punch to the man's face. I don't punch someone often, never really. I'm not usually the brawling type. But still, it's apparently effective, and the man's head snaps back hard, and the grip on his gun loosens. Dennis grabs the gun and falls to the floor, clearly winded in pain. Our attacker is immobilized, and I can feel a shift in the situation. Yet, although he is basically harmless now, I feel the need to pummel him, a desire that builds with each second I look at him. He has information, and to hit him again is to maybe put him in a more harmful physical state, like harm him, and that means he might not be able to give you information. And it seems like it goes against this guy's morals. I've completely forgotten his name, but it feels like it goes against the guy I'm playing as his morals. It goes against his morals, so I can't make him just keep hitting this guy for no reason. So standing up and stepping back is my decision. You took it easy on the man. He's definitely out now, no threat. Or at least that's what I think. But he surprises me by mustering up one more swift kick in my direction, connecting with my forehead. My eyelids swells to the size of a grape almost immediately. It seems like this last attack is more in spite of me than to defend himself. I stumble back and ready myself for another blow of rounds, but he just slouches on the floor. He's done. Dennis instantly hands the rifle over to me, and I take it with shaking hands. I can't believe you stepped between me and that gun, Dennis. Dennis says. He could have killed you. I was pretty sure he wasn't, I say, although I had known no such thing. Still, thanks, man. That was some heroic stuff. You would have done the same thing, right? Dennis says nothing. His eyes look to the floor. What do we do now, boss? Dennis asks. We've come this far, and I want answers. I sense that Dennis does too. We take a hard look at the man before I reply. We get answers from this guy. No answers, the man says. I don't have any. Next time, I won't just hit you, I say, plunging a rifle towards him. Now get up. He obeys quickly, but his legs are wobbly and he leans against the wall for support. I can feel my swollen eyelid from where he kicked me earlier. I just hope it doesn't get that bad that it affects my sight. Okay, let's move, I say, pointing the gun further down the hallway. We've come this far and I'm not going to let this guy stop us. We walk down the hallway until we come to the end. A single elevator awaits us. Its steel sliding doors larger than a normal elevator. I should have punched him, shouldn't I? It saved me from getting a black eye. God damn it. And the music has changed once again. Before I get in the elevator with this guy, I think it's just wise to learn a bit more about him. I can tell it's making him uncomfortable for me to have the gun. What's your name, I ask. Marcus. And you work here? It's clear that he doesn't want to answer, but he gives us a little nod. We're looking for the rest of our crew. Any idea where they might be, I ask. No, he says curtly, not bothering to elaborate. There's got to be some useful info we can get out of this guy. I just need to know what to dig for. I need a first aid kit for my friend here, I say. Where might I find one? Down the second floor, but we can't go down there. What's on level 2? He looks at me like an idiot. You must be aware that you're inside of a classified government facility, he says. It makes no sense, but I want to doubt it. Well, I'm sure our government would want you to help save my friend, so take me to the first aid kit. I can't, he says. I don't have clearance. Hell, I barely have clearance. Then, seemingly to himself, he mutters, I make this place run. And not even a thank you. Just a bunch of restricted access rooms I'm only allowed to go in with the frickin' chaperone. I'm interrupted by his monologue. We're going to get that first aid kit. I could lose my job, he says. I wonder for a moment what sort of trouble I could get in for hitting a government employee. This makes me glad I took it easy on him. Then again, he had come at us with a rifle. It makes me think that things could have gone terribly wrong in this place. And that explosion in the woods, or whatever the hell had happened, might be linked to it all. I need to convince him to take us to the second floor, but I'm not sure if it would be more productive to threaten him or ask him sympathetically. There's no point in threatening him now. It seems like a rude thing to do. You just broke down him and he seems like a pretty broken person at the moment, so asking for sympathetic help is better. Look, I say, it hasn't been the best day. We're just trying to find out what's going on and to find our crew, to survive. I know this isn't a normal situation down here. It looks like all your protocols have been blown to hell. Can't you help us out? He looks at me sternly, weighing his options. Okay, he says. Thank you, I say. With an untrusting stare, Marcus walks to the elevator door, approaching a small keypad by the doors. He punches in a numeral code at the end, and we hear a slightly metallic hum behind the steel doors. After a few seconds of angry glances and frightened sneers from Marcus, the elevator arrives, and the steel doors slide open with a whisper, revealing the interior. Oh, it's really, really sleek. It's really sleek interior. It's exceptionally well lit and looks to be made of stainless steel. I half expect the thing to take off at the speed of light. There's another small keypad on the front of the right panel of the door with the options for 3 sub-level floors. Looks like this elevator doesn't go to the surface. So after we get a first aid kit for Dennis, how do we get out of here? I ask. We can't leave. Once the power comes back on, the whole place is put on lockdown. What? I shout. Can't you override it? No. It's to prevent anything from getting out. I can't. Marcus looks as deflated as Dennis. We can't get out of here. We're stuck here. Dennis leans into the corner and almost falls on the floor. The struggle for the rifle looks like it took a lot out of him, and I can see that much in his face. Slowly we start to move down. The hum and grind of the car's motor fill the space. Or just looking at how they say, what can you do, it seems pretty rude. And it seems too demanding and a bit harsh to be saying. So just ask, it sounds childish asking, are you stuck there forever? But it seems like the more approachable way to go about it. Marcus scrolls at me. I think it's a fair question. It doesn't seem unreasonable to assume he won't be able to get us out. We'll probably find somebody with an access code and they'll be begging you to figure out how to lift the lockdown. These people think they're so brilliant, but some of them can barely turn the computers on without help. The top coder in my class in MIT, and I'm stuck living underground, helping idiots who don't even trust me with keys. I already get the impression that this place is ginormous, so asking what goes on here, even though he probably doesn't have the clearance to tell me, yeah, that's just what I thought. Marcus shakes his head. You may as well shoot me, I can't tell you. Why not? Because it's beyond classified, and the things I know don't even cover the start of it. What does that mean? I ask, starting to get a little irritated. It means that even if I wanted to tell you, what sort of work is down here. I don't know enough about it. Oh, stuff it. I might as well ask, how big is this place? It's a government facility that the highest secrecy, Marcus says, a research facility. It goes 4 stories underground, and quite frankly, it scares the piss out of me that you two got in here so easily. And why is that? This is a black ops graveyard, he replies. Even the CIA doesn't know this place exists. Let's knock the lights out. Seems like some sort of power outage, Marcus says. That's all I know. There was an outage, and then what? Dennis asks weakly. Then things got weird. Things got bad. Bad how, I ask. The whole place seemed to shake when the lights went out. I was checking the monitors when it happened, and everything went dead. It took no more than a minute or so before I started hearing the screams. People were being killed by something. I tried getting back the security cameras again, but they only lasted for a little bit on my backup system. But that's what I saw. What? I ask, feeling a sharp fear worm its way into my guts. Well, what I saw on the screen for that little bit of time made no sense. It made me get the gun from the emergency vault. I think whatever it is, it's still down here. Hold on, I say. There's an emergency vault with a rifle in the same room as the security cameras in this place. Marcus gives me a grin that looks almost nearly insane. There are guns locked away in every room in this place, just in case, you know. Just in case of what? He opens his mouth to answer, and the elevator comes to a stop and the doors slide open. Marcus is out right away without a word. He makes his exit and heads directly for a glassed-in room that is filled with computer monitors and high-tech equipment. Dennis and I file out behind him, trying to keep up. As we do, one very alarming question runs through my head. What the hell kind of government facility keeps loaded guns and emergency vaults in every single room? Okay, so that is the end of chapter 2. Wow, that was intense. That's actually one of the most intense chapters I've had here. So curiosity, you and 61% of players ignored the warning sign and looked at the glowing reactor. Selflessness, you and 64% of players stepped out in front of Dennis to protect them from Marcus. Mercy, you and 65% of players were easy on Marcus after he surrendered. Okay, so that's really cool. So I didn't really go out of the majority of people who looked at the generator and protected and surrendered him. So that's pretty good. I feel pretty good with those choices. But at the same time, after watching someone else's playthrough of the game, I also regretted a lot of my decisions that I made in the first video. And I might even go back and watch the first video just to see how it goes. Just to double sort of check what's going on, I suppose. I don't know, maybe so that I get a refresh of my decisions. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please drop a like, hit subscribe, and even turn on notifications, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.